Good afternoon, Niall Horan and Mark McDonald from Modest Golf. Welcome to the NI Golf Podcast.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you for following the podcast, very kind.
No problem at all.
Before we get into the Galgorm and Modest Golf, first of all, how's your game?
I haven't been playing as much as I would like to recently. Played a couple of weeks ago and it didn't play too bad. A couple of things I could work on, but I'm doing other stuff at the minute, so I haven't got the time.
Yeah, you've been kind of busy with your music career. I have to say, this song's class. So
Thanks very much, appreciate it.
Right, so on to Modest Golf. Where did the idea come about for Modest Golf? I'm presuming it was you and your music management got this idea.
Yeah, it was. I remember it well. We were having a drink one night, and me and the two main guys at Modest, Richard and Harry, and I said to them, why don't we start like a sports end of Modest together, and keep the Modest name and start our own separate company. And they were straight away loved the idea, and we sat down and then afterwards and had a talk about how we were going to go about it. Obviously, golf is a passion of all of ours, with both expertise in music and just business in general, and our love for golf and a passion for golf. We thought we'd start the golf end of it, and then that's where Macca came in. Macca had a long-standing relationship with Modest beforehand. Obviously Macca used to work with Adidas and TaylorMade, so it was a relationship that he had built with Modest before. So when it came to making the company official, it was obvious who we were going to get in, really. Obviously, him and his brother have worked in golf for a long time and are well known around the golf scene. So it was a no-brainer, really. And then that's where Mark took over.
And on a day-to-day basis, Mark, what does Modest Golf do?
Day to day, Niall's first ever statement he made on Modest Golf was he wanted to do his bit to develop the next generation of golfing talent. He also recognised that he wanted to bring in people who knew the golf world, so he gave me a great opportunity along with Ian Watts, who was formerly director of TaylorMade for 30 years. He signed major champions, he signed world number ones to TaylorMade. So between us, we know a little bit about golf. So that's obviously how it started. And in terms of day to day, it's just locating the best talent in Europe initially, and then around the world, and just really finding the best talent with the best attitudes, great young men and women who've been brought up extremely well, who've got a great talent, who are prepared to work hard to achieve their dreams. Well,
you've been around the European Tour and the Challenge Tour a fair bit, so now do you do a bit of the scouting for the company then in terms of who you're going to sign?
Yeah, well, me, myself, Mark and Ian are in touch every single day through emails. We're on top of it. Ian's more of our tour guy, you would say, and kind of spends his time out on the tour, and obviously knows a lot of people within the touring world, as he spent a lot of time on the truck around Europe and wherever. So he's got a lot of the golfers are of us, as we can see on a day-to-day basis on a tour. A lot of the golfers are on a similar basis talent-wise, and some obviously just a little bit better than others. But it's about who has it up here in the head and who can take it down the stretch when they're in contention.
Well, I was going to say, what are you looking for whenever you're trying to scout somebody? So it is that mindset.
It's just like if you're in contention and see who can bring it home, really, and obviously then hard-working lads. We want to know from word on the street who are the hard workers, because if you think you're working hard, there's someone working harder than you, and that's just fact.
I think it's for us, it's two things: attitude and ability. People can have ability, but if they don't have the correct attitude, then their ability will be wasted, and vice versa. So for us, we do a lot of research, and we're in a very fortunate position. The business has been set up 18 months now, and we're being approached by very, very credible golfers asking for representation. But we've always said from the start, we're going to make it boutique. We're going to pick our players, really back them, and give them all the resources in order to make it. So for us, we take a lot of time, we do a lot of research, we make a lot of phone calls through the contacts we have to find out what these guys are like, how they behave on the course, how they behave off the course, do they put work in? Do they go that extra mile? So for us, we feel like we're bringing a modern approach to golf representation and golf management, and that is, it's not just about the golf. The ability is great, and obviously it's needed, but there's 100 different things as well that they need to do to be able to make it.
And who all have you got on your books so far, and what services do you provide for the golfers?
Who would you say? Who
Who have you got on the books?
We got Tristan Lawrence. Tristan Lawrence is two-time South African amateur champion. Did that when he was 14 and 15 years old. He's the only player in South African golf history to do that. We got the Rookie of the Year on the Sunshine Tour, Christian Bezuidenhout. And we have Guido Migliozzi, number one Italian amateur, just turned pro too. All boys are playing on the Challenge Tour, and we've recently, basically today.
Exclusive.
It's an exclusive, isn't it?
Podcast exclusive, just for Paul Kelly.
I hope you signed today.
We signed Ivan Cantero, who's in the top 5 amateur in the world, who's a young Spanish kid, 18 years old, unbelievable talent as well. So we feel we'll be, after the Walker Cup, we'll be announcing possibly two more signings. So it's exciting, as Mark said. It's 18 months old, and we have a nice little stable and keeping a boutique. I've always noticed that at Modest, one thing I always notice is that no matter how big or small the act is, everyone gets the same management. The boys are, you feel like it could be easier for us to go and pick a favourite there, and ill-manage the others, and that's not the way we want it.
Well, we've heard of a few ructions in the European Tour circles about things like that, where people in other management companies aren't getting the same kind of exposure, so it's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you always hear stories. Obviously, we wouldn't comment on that. We don't know too much about it, but yeah, in terms of obviously what we do, we're just very focused on what we're kind of doing in our stable, and that's exactly right what Niall said. It's about giving every player the level of support, the same level of support, and in terms of what we do for them, it's pretty much in short, all we want them to focus on is hitting a 5-iron or a driver. If they can just focus on their game, we'll do everything else around that to make them go onto their course with a clear head, and that's emotional support, generating sponsors, which is why we're here today at the Gallery Belfast. So every aspect of away from golf, because in sport now, these athletes, whether it be football, golf, there's so much noise going on around them. It's really just the skill to just keep it so they can just go onto that golf course and worry about their game, and if we do that, we're doing a good job.
And in terms of closer to home, Niall, have you spotted anybody in the Irish ranks that you might like to sort of see? Or
yeah, of course, that's the aim, and that's why we've been involved in Northern Irish Open for the last 2 years, because it's close to home and you want to see who you can pick up, and obviously when there's spare invites flying around, we want to give it to the local lads and the Irish boys, and hence the fact that we set up the amateur qualifying for this, and there was 2, a Northern Irish and a Southern Irish guy who both qualified, which is incredible, one being 17 years old.
Yeah, we felt it right with doing the event in Northern Ireland. We really wanted to give back to and give some playing opportunities, even if they're not our players, to Ireland and Northern Ireland. So we did, obviously, as Niall just said, the Northern Ireland Amateur Open, where an over 18 and under 18 qualified. Obviously, Colin Fairweather did an incredible job to qualify as leading amateur. And then we've obviously invited John Roscoe-Brinth, who's a friend of Niall and mine, and he's had a good season. I think he came second at the Livham Trophy. And these guys just need opportunities to play, and if they get opportunities, they will flourish. So we said, if we're coming to Ireland, we're coming to Northern Ireland, whatever happens, obviously we'll support our boys first and foremost, but then we will give back to the golfing community and provide opportunities for people to play.
Yeah, you'll be playing in the Pro-Am again this year at Galgorm then on Wednesday?
I actually won't this time, sadly. I've got a few little music bits and pieces to do, but I'll be back for the weekend. I'll be back on towards the weekend and be around for the whole weekend. I can't wait to see the shootout.
Just in terms of that, in terms of the day job, excuse me, and the fan base that you have, do you find it difficult to play in the Pro-Ams when you have that kind of attention on the course from the young ladies?
It's good and it's bad. You kind of feel a little bit embarrassed, you're not the greatest golfer, and people, when you play in Pro-Ams, people expect you to be as good as the fella you're playing with. But I think it's just good for the game, making noise, hence the fact that we do this kind of, was on the radio this morning on Cool FM trying to get people down. try and introduce people to the game. I think that's the only way. This is the great side about it. I did play one pro-am where there was no one with us, because if they announce I'm coming, then there's going to be a lot of girls flying around. But I played in a pro-am in America with Rosie, and we ended up winning it, but there was no one following us. It was great.
I think taking my modest hat off for a moment as just a golf fan, I've obviously played golf since I was 8 and my father introduced me. There were lots of noises a couple of years ago that numbers in golf were slipping. Obviously, kids want to play their PlayStation or whatever these days. So a lot of the pros have gone on record and said, obviously, people like Niall, people like Justin Timberlake, people away from golf, the golfers have a very golf following. If Niall, if Justin Timberlake, if those guys can even introduce 3% of their following to pick up a club, to give golf a try, that's going to have a massive, massive impact on the game of golf, and it's going to appeal. And why Niall's voice is so important in the Northern Ireland Open, it's always had strong crowds. However, if the guys on the Challenge Tour, they are the next generation of golfing superstar. Graduates from a Challenge Tour have won over 300 times on the European Tour. There's been over 15 major winners. They've had a Ryder Cup captain. Obviously, last summer you had a gold and silver medalist in the Olympics. Justin and Stenson. These guys came from a Challenge Tour. But right now, these boys who are playing, and like our boys, they want to play in front of crowds. They want to showcase their games in front of the ultimate pressure, which is big crowds. So obviously Gal Gorm, Ross and Gary do a great job, but with Niall's influence as well, by getting some of his fan base down to get golf a try, it obviously benefits the players and really helps them play under those sorts of pressures.
And as you say, even if there's a small percentage of conversion rate for girls who take up the game, you could be signing the next Lydia Ko or somebody, in a few years that would come by.
That'd be great, yeah. I think anything that you can do to bring, like what Steph Curry did, the basketball player did in the States this week. He got a sponsor's exemption into the web.com. Brought out, he had a gallery with him the whole way around the course. He missed the cut, but only by a couple of shots. But if he can bring some of them NBA fans into the game, it's only good, I think it's incredible. As you say, if we can get some girls to start playing, we could be signing the next Michelle Wee, Lydia Ko, whoever it is. But yeah, that's the positive way of looking at it, I guess.
And that leads us on to obviously Shootout Sunday and the new format. We've been very fortunate to build relationships over the last 18 months with Keith Pelly at the European Tour, with Alan at the Challenge Tour, and these guys are making a real effort to just mix things up slightly. And we felt, being a younger management company, we should adopt that. We're not saying Shootout Sunday will happen every year. But we felt this year we wanted to keep the traditions of the game of golf, but just have a little twist on that Sunday to appeal to that younger audience, which is why it's going to be a fast and quick format. And as I say, we don't know if it'll be every year, but right now when there is that kind of shift towards, hey, let's get more non-golfers out onto the course, we thought, we'd give it a go this year and see how it went down. And we've had incredible positive feedback.
It's just so exciting, because when I think about it, and picture the 18th green on a Sunday, and every game because of the stroke play, having to come down the 18th is just incredible, really. And we were explaining talking to some of the golfers last night, and for some of them who didn't 100% understand it, when we were explaining it to them, and you could see the smiles on their faces, it makes me even want to go out and play myself, which is great. So I can't wait. I'm glad that the Challenge Tour, and as Mark said, we've had a great relationship with Alan and Keith, and they've been very supportive of everything that we wanted to do, and it's going to be an incredible weekend. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And obviously, we really appreciate NI Golf Podcast. We hear your podcast every
I thought your interview was the best.
Every month. Yeah. So no, we do. You and Paul have been great. I know Paul's obviously too busy to come down today, but glad you could make it. But no, we really appreciate it, because you guys have supported us from word go, and we listen to your podcast, and we really appreciate all your support, and hope to see you down there during the week.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be down. We'll be doing some bits and pieces down there. But it's fantastic to have you, bringing modest golf to Galgorm, because Galgorm was a great event. It's an even more fantastic event now that you guys are involved. It's going to be a very exciting weekend.
Can't wait. Look forward to it. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, can't wait. Shootout Sunday. Looking forward to it.
And just before we go, favourite course in the world to play that's not Augusta and not Mullingar?
I moved from Ireland when I was 16 and didn't have the opportunity to play much links golf as I was from the Midlands. And last year when we came for the Northern Irish, Open, we went and played County Down and Port Stewart and Port Rush, I should say. And I thought Port Rush was my favourite, most beautiful scenic golf course I've ever seen, and I'm looking forward to possibly playing it again with the new changes, and I've heard it's incredible.
Mine, I'd say Port Rush or County Down. They both looked after as well. But great courses. Obviously, County Down's a few more blind shots, but
that's why.
They're still finding our golf balls now at those. But yeah, no, I mean, there's so many incredible golf courses on the doorstep over here. So that's why it's so great to be here. Northern Ireland is, one of the best places in the world, golfing capital of the world, isn't it? Really. So.
And you're heading up to Galgorm today for a few.
Yeah, we're going to have a bit of a knock this afternoon, actually. Yeah, I was just thinking there, like a couple of facts that people might not know. The Northern Irish Open, the Northern Irish Open is the closest thing to a European Tour event, and the Northern Irish Open has basically got, was it like 50% or higher attendance than 50% of European Tour events?
Yeah.
Which shows, and obviously recently broke records here at Port Stewart for attendance for Rory's Irish Open. So it shows how, and it's the same in the South when the Irish Open was down there as well. It shows how strong golf is in Ireland, and as the lads said last night, Irish people just love golf. So when people say that golf is dying and there's numbers are going, it's not dying here. So we try and pick it back up again.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, which we've never got involved in, but it's actually a free event, and there's not many things now in the world you can go to for free. So to be able to go for free, and it's obviously, I forget the tagline of it's a golf event for all the family is a tagline for the event, and that basically hits the nail on the head. And that is it's whether you're a golfer, non-golfer, kid, adult, come along. There's a gin festival. There's live music. We're implementing it live music from our musical heritage. Lots going on for all the families. So I think it's niopen.net.golf is where you can get tickets, and obviously we hope to see loads of people down, in particular Sunday where we're presenting the trophy. So
great. Guys, it's going to be a busy week. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck with the event.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Morris.